Horrifying reaction. Teen's response after killing girlfriend with knife. On a March night in 2023, outside a tobacco shop in Franklin County, Ohio, an argument between two teenage girls quickly escalated into a bloody tragedy. Brianna Borosini, then 18, and Halia Culbertson, 17, former friends who had been at odds for years, met at the store in a fateful encounter. This random meeting ended with Culbertson's death and Borosini's life forever changed. According to witness testimony, Borosini and Culbertson were once friends but had harbored animosity for years. In the store, Borosini accused Culbertson of using drugs, calling her a junkie. For Culbertson, who was in recovery from addiction, this accusation was unacceptable. It ignited a rage that led Culbertson to wait for Borosini outside the store to resolve their conflict with fists. Halia was in recovery. She was furious about being called a junkie. A witness told police, "I don't know if you've ever met someone in recovery, but that's a major insult to them." What happened next was captured by a witness's camera, a clear HD video that later became crucial evidence in the trial. According to the video, Culbertson slapped Borosini first. The two girls fought in the tobacco shop's parking lot. But what witnesses didn't anticipate was that Borosini had brought a butterfly knife. "All I saw was hand to hand. Nobody reaching in pockets for anything," a witness testified to police. "If I had seen a knife, I would have intervened immediately and called the police sooner." During the altercation, Borosini stabbed Culbertson in the neck, severely wounding her. After the stabbing, Culbertson was still able to walk to her car, but blood had begun spurting from the wound. Only when Culbertson sat in her vehicle did her friends realize the severity of the injury. Halia punched Bree in the face. Bree fell to the ground, and Halia walked away. She went to her car, sat down and prepared to drive. But then Kenzie told me, "She's spurting blood from her chest," a friend of Culbertson recounted emotionally. "My first reaction was to take off my shirt, put it on the wound and press hard. I had previously seen my brother die in my arms from a gunshot wound because I didn't press on the wound fast enough." When Columbus police arrived at the scene, they encountered chaos. Culbertson was being transported to the hospital, while her friends and family were distraught and in pain. Body cameras on the police officers captured them trying to maintain order and gather information from witnesses. "This is my sister," a man said with tears streaming down his face as officers asked him to step back. "Please save my sister." Police quickly identified Borosini from witnesses and especially from the video that captured the entire incident. They also discovered bloodstains on the ground where the stabbing occurred and found a butterfly knife, the murder weapon. At the hospital, despite doctors' best efforts, Halia Culbertson did not survive due to the severity of her wound. She died at age 17, leaving indescribable pain for her family and friends. Meanwhile, police went to Borosini's home, arrested her, and took her in for questioning. At Borosini's home, police found her clothes being washed in the washing machine, possibly an attempt to destroy evidence. The murder weapon was found hidden in a space under the floor. At the police station, Borosini was placed in an interrogation room and left alone for hours. Most of the time, she rested her head on the table, only occasionally looking up to stretch or wipe her face. When a detective entered and informed her that Culbertson had died, Borosini's reaction shocked those who later viewed the video. "With all the people we've interviewed and the video obtained, we're charging you with murder," the detective said. When informed she would be taken to the county jail, Borosini appeared surprised. "I can't go home?" she asked, with an expression of astonishment. "No, you're being charged with murder. You'll go to the county jail," the detective replied. "Tomorrow you'll have your first court appearance. They'll set bail, and then we have 10 days to present the case to the grand jury." Borosini was charged with 2 counts of murder and a lesser charge of manslaughter. If convicted of murder, she could have faced life imprisonment. She was released on bail after posting $750. Borosini's lawyer argued that his client acted in self-defense, claiming that Culbertson was the instigator and struck Borosini first. However, when the judge indicated he would allow the jury to see damaging text messages, including one where Borosini apparently said, "I'll cut that bitch's throat. I swear on my whole family. If she shows up at my house again, Berosini decided to plead guilty to the lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter. In the summer of 2024, Brianna Berosini, then 20, pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter in court. The trial took place in a somber atmosphere, with family and friends present from both sides. Before the trial began, the judge warned everyone in the courtroom. "I understand this is an emotional and painful situation, but I expect solemnity. That's why we have officers here. This is a courtroom, not the street." Berosini sat expressionless as Culbertson's relatives read victim impact statements, including her grandmother, sister, and the close friend who was with Culbertson on that fateful day. Because she was only 17, she hadn't even begun to understand what she could contribute to this world. Culbertson's grandmother said with a trembling voice, "Family and friends never had the chance to witness where her talent and love for life would take her. They talk about how terrible it is to outlive your child, but I'm telling you that the feeling of grief and enduring the pain of outliving your granddaughter is unbearable." Culbertson's sister also read an emotional statement. "I would rather stand at her wedding and give a speech, or at her graduation, but I'm here instead. That night, I felt like a part of my soul, or rather my entire soul, departed when Halia left. I relive March 27, 2023, in my head every day. All I see is Halia in my arms and me screaming into the phone at 911, telling them to hurry. Halia will never have another birthday, or Christmas, or Thanksgiving. No more holidays." In court, Berosini also spoke. "Not a day goes by that this incident isn't on my mind. I understand and sympathize with the victim's family because I know the pain I've caused them is indescribable. I also feel for my family because this situation has caused them much suffering. I can understand and recognize the harm I've caused. Now I will live with this guilt for the rest of my life. I took a life and I understand that the victim's family will have to endure this for the rest of their lives. I pray and will continue to pray for all parties involved." Ultimately, the judge sentenced Berosini to the maximum allowed by law, 3 years in prison. She is currently serving her sentence at the Ohio Reformatory for Women and is expected to be released in June 2027. This case is a heartbreaking tragedy for all involved. One young life was cut short too soon, and another ruined by the consequences of an impulsive action in a moment of anger. It also serves as a warning about how conflicts between young people can quickly escalate into violence with irreversible consequences. Halia Culbertson, though gone at 17, will forever be remembered by family and friends as someone full of potential and vitality. Meanwhile, Brianna Berosini must live with the guilt and consequences of her actions for the rest of her life. This case is a painful reminder of the value of restraint and reconciliation, of how words and actions can leave deep wounds that cannot be healed. It also shows that in a moment, life can change forever, and impulsive decisions can lead to tragic consequences that no one could anticipate.